Your bank account is currently being held hostage by a 21-mile-wide strip of water you've probably never seen. One single mistake, one stray missile, and the price of your next loaf of bread could double overnight. Most people think war is about soldiers and borders, but the elite know the truth. It's about the flow of black liquid. Right now, a shadow is falling over the Hormuz Strait, and it's about to empty your pockets. Have you ever wondered why a coffee costs 20% more when a war breaks out thousands of miles away? This isn't just bad luck. It's a calculated financial trap designed to crush the middle class while others get rich. Today, I'm going to show you the invisible threads connecting Middle Eastern missiles to your grocery bill. I will break down the oil trap so clearly, even a 5-year-old could see the coming disaster.
The blood of the global engine. Imagine the entire world economy as a massive, high-performance supercar screaming down a highway. Oil is the high-octane fuel that keeps those pistons firing and the wheels turning. Without it, everything stops. Trucks, planes, factories, and even the servers running your favorite apps. But here is the terrifying part. 20% of all that global fuel must pass through one tiny, fragile door. This door is controlled by countries that, to put it mildly, do not get along with each other at all. When the first explosion echoes in the Gulf, the investors in London and New York don't cry for the victims. They scream in terror because they know that if that door closes, the engine of the world will seize up instantly. The Strait of Hormuz, the world's jugular. To understand the danger, you must look at the map of the Persian Gulf like a financial surgeon. The Strait of Hormuz is the world's most important choke point, and it's terrifyingly narrow. At its narrowest point, the shipping lanes are only 2 miles wide in each direction. Imagine trying to fit the entire world's energy supply through a needle's eye while someone is waving a lighter. If a single tanker is hit, the insurance companies for every other ship in the ocean immediately double their rates. This cost isn't paid by the oil giants. It's passed directly to the person buying a plastic bottle of water in a shop. It's an invisible tax on existence, triggered by a conflict thousands of miles away from your home. The oil domino effect. When the price of crude oil jumps, the first domino to fall is the transportation industry. Airlines start adding fuel surcharges to your vacation tickets before you even hear the news on TV. Trucking companies, which move 70% of everything you eat, suddenly face bills they cannot pay. To stay in business, they raise the price of moving a pallet of apples or a box of electronics. By the time that apple reaches your grocery store, its price has been inflated 4 times along the way. This is why your salary feels like it's shrinking, even if your boss gave you a small raise this year. The oil trap is designed to act faster than your ability to save money. The fertilizer crisis, the hidden threat. But the trap goes deeper than just transportation. It hits the very dirt our food grows in. Modern farming relies on nitrogen fertilizers, which are produced using massive amounts of natural gas. When the Middle East is on fire, gas prices follow oil into the stratosphere. Fertilizer plants in Europe and Asia start shutting down because they can no longer afford the energy. Farmers are forced to plant less or use lower quality seeds, leading to a global shortage of grain. So, the war in the East isn't just about fuel for cars, it's a war on the calories on your dinner plate. The ghosts of 1973, a terrifying precedent. To see your future, you must look back at the most chaotic year in financial history, 1973. Back then, a conflict in the Middle East led to an oil embargo that broke the Western world. Gas prices didn't just rise, they quadrupled in a matter of weeks, catching everyone off guard. People stood in lines for miles just to get 5 gallons of fuel for their family cars. The global economy entered a period of stagflation, where prices went up while jobs disappeared. Today, we are even more vulnerable because our entire world is just in time. We don't keep big warehouses of food or fuel anymore. We rely on constant moving ships. If the flow stops for even 7 days, the grocery store shelves in your city will go empty. The oil trap isn't a slow leak, it's a sudden, violent heart attack for global trade. Algirs's humanity, the millisecond panic. In 1973, news traveled slowly, giving people a few days to think and react. Today, the oil trap is sprung by high-frequency trading algorithms in Manhattan data centers. These AI systems monitor satellite images of the Persian Gulf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The moment an infrared sensor detects a heat signature from an explosion, the AI acts. It sells millions of shares in airlines and shipping companies in less than a single millisecond. By the time you see the breaking news alert on your phone, the market has already crashed. You are playing a game of poker where the other players can see your cards and move faster than light. This is why the rich often get richer during a crisis. They own the machines that exit the burning building first. While you are still sleeping, the oil trap has already recalculated the value of your savings. The $500 drone versus the $1 billion refinery. The scariest part of the modern East-West conflict is the asymmetric war on energy. In the past, it took an entire air force to destroy an oil refinery or a pumping station. Today, a cheap drone made of plastic and hobby store parts can fly 500 miles and strike a target. This means the cost of attacking the world's energy supply has dropped to almost zero. But the cost of defending that supply is billions of dollars in missile defense systems. This massive gap creates permanent instability in the price of everything you buy. The oil trap is now automated, cheap, and impossible to fully defend against. The shadow fleet, pirates of the modern economy. While you watch the news, hundreds of ghost ships are moving across the ocean in total silence. These are old, rusted tankers that have turned off their GPS tracking systems to hide their location. They carry millions of barrels of sanctioned oil from the Middle East to secret ports in Asia. This shadow fleet is the only thing keeping global energy prices from hitting $200 per barrel right now. But there is a catch. These ships are not insured, and they are prone to massive mechanical failures. A single oil spill from a ghost ship in a major strait would block trade for months. The oil trap is now literally floating on a sea of unregulated, dangerous vessels. You are paying for the risk of a disaster that no government is prepared to clean up. The petrodollar war, the end of American dominance. For 50 years, the world had a simple rule. If you want to buy oil, you must pay in US dollars. This petrodollar system is what gives the American currency its godlike power over the world. It forces every country to keep stacks of dollars in their central banks just to keep the lights on. But the oil trap is being rewritten by China and Saudi Arabia as we speak. They are starting to trade energy in yuan, bypassing the Western banking system entirely. If the dollar loses its connection to oil, the value of the money in your savings account will collapse. Inflation won't just be a trend. It will become a permanent state of existence for the West. The conflict in the East isn't just about territory. It's a fight for the future of money itself. The Chinese factor, the silent puppet master. While the West is distracted by war, China is quietly filling its strategic oil reserves to the brim. They are waiting for the oil trap to spring, so they can control the global supply chain. By controlling the flow of Eastern energy, they can dictate the price of every factory in Europe. This is a chess game played with millions of barrels of oil as the pieces. And unfortunately, the average consumer is the pawn that gets sacrificed first. The green energy paradox, a new type of trap. You might think that switching to electric cars and solar panels will save you from the oil trap. But here is the bitter truth. Building a green world requires more energy than we have ever used before. To mine the lithium, cobalt, and copper for your EV battery, giant machines must burn millions of gallons of diesel. Steel and glass for solar panels are forged in furnaces heated by coal and natural gas. This means that green energy is actually just oil and gas in a different, more expensive package. When the East is in conflict, the cost of building a green future skyrockets, delaying our independence for decades. The oil trap isn't just about the fuel in your tank. It's about the materials in your walls and the tech in your pocket. You are paying a green premium, that is directly tied to the stability of the Persian Gulf. The psychology of supermarket fear. Have you noticed how news headlines about oil always appear right before a massive spike in food prices? Media companies and retail giants use the oil trap as a psychological tool to justify corporate greed. They know that if you are afraid of a global shortage, you will accept a 15% price increase without fighting back. This is called greedflation, where companies raise prices far beyond what the actual cost of oil requires. The war in the East provides the perfect cover for these corporations to expand their profit margins. While you are worrying about a missile strike, a CEO in a skyscraper is celebrating his record-breaking quarterly bonus. You are not just a victim of a geopolitical conflict. You are a target in a sophisticated marketing war. The weaponization of commodities. In the modern world, wheat, oil, and gas are no longer just products. They are high-precision weapons. A country doesn't need to invade a neighbor if it can simply turn off the flow of heat in the middle of winter. The oil trap is the ultimate leverage in a world that has forgotten how to produce its own basic necessities. We have outsourced our survival to the most unstable regions on the planet for the sake of cheap labor. Now, the bill for that cheap labor is finally coming due, and the interest rate is terrifyingly high. The survival blueprint: how to escape the trap. Now that you see the invisible walls of the oil trap, you need a plan to protect your future. The first rule of a conflict economy is, do not keep all your wealth in a currency tied to energy imports. When oil spikes, paper money loses its purchasing power faster than you can spend it. Smart investors look at hard assets, things that have intrinsic value regardless of what happens in the Strait of Hormuz. Gold and silver have been the ultimate insurance policies against Middle Eastern chaos for thousands of years. They don't require electricity, they don't rely on a functional banking system, and they cannot be printed by a central bank. You should also consider commodity ETFs, which allow you to profit from the rising prices instead of just being a victim. If you can't beat the oil trap, you must learn to ride the wave it creates. The digital refuge, Bitcoin and the new energy. In the 21st century, some call Bitcoin digital orange juice, a way to store the value of energy in a digital format. Unlike the US dollar, Bitcoin is not controlled by any government that is involved in the Eastern wars. It is a borderless, neutral asset that moves at the speed of light, bypassing blocked shipping lanes. But beware, high volatility means that while it can save you, it can also burn you if you don't understand the risks. The goal is not to gamble. The goal is to diversify so that no single missile can destroy your life's work. The improved finale. The world is more complex than it seems, but now you know the truth. Send this video to a friend who is still keeping their money under a mattress. Where is your refuge? Gold, Bitcoin, or real estate? I'll be waiting for you in the comments. Subscribing and hitting the bell is your pass into the world of transparent finance. Don't let yourself be fooled. See you soon.